It's a multi-award winning program reaching you live from TVC News here in our headquarters in Lagos, Nigeria. The policeman to citizens ratio in Nigeria is alarmingly low. The situation is worsening by the demand by VIPs for special protection. Former Inspector General of Police Solomon Arase has disclosed that more than 200,000 police operatives are attached to political office holders and dignitaries. Arase described the situation as policing the elites against the security spaces. He pointed out that police is not securing designated spaces for their function. Meanwhile, we are still living in the aftermath of the EndSARS protest, as the committee set up by the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has warned hoodlums who carted away firearms from 205 police stations in 17 states across the country to return them or face prosecution. The committee says it is a dangerous trend at the end of the year. We've always been talking about this. Let's look at this ratio. Solomon Arase was the former Inspector General of Police, quite vibrant and outspoken man. I think he's from the South part. Is it Edo State?
I think Edo State.
Part of the country. Now, he is now putting it at the VIPs, because the last time me and Jide said the Inspector General of Police had listed, gone ahead to list the people they've gotten the police orderlies from, and I went home. I discovered that I saw a 65-man list. Now, the former IG now is saying up to 200,000 of those people, then they are protecting former public office holders, politicians, and dignitaries in Nigeria. Jide, do we have up to 500,000 policemen in Nigeria? And if we have 200,000 policing dignitaries, there's problem.
It's the ratio.
Yes, the Arase said in that during that lecture that there are about 400,000. As a former IG, he's in position to know.
Really?
Yes, I mean, those files.
We can't sit down here and be controverting it.
Yes, those files will pass through his table. He still has his people in the police. You know, we will still be getting updates and all that. Sometimes the best way to get information about even a military formation is to speak with someone who used to be a commander in that area.
Yeah.
Because his own boys who are still there will be feeding him with information. This is what is going on. This is what is going on. He too will not feel comfortable not to know what's going on. So the truth is, Arase is saying the truth. If he's saying that they have just about 400,000. So what we are confronted by is a situation in which half of the police force are actually guiding individuals.
Leaving the whole entire country.
Yeah, the rest of the
200 million.
Yes. Now, even the rest of us, you now see, we now have to come up with the ratio. How many policemen are guiding the rest of us? You know,
how many do you have on the highways?
Yeah.
So the highway, they can argue that, okay, because robbers,
kidnappers,
bandits, you also use the highway. They can say that.
And they have those who are even on special duty who may not be.
They can say that they are doing their job and all that, but it's an alarming situation, and I can see why this IG has gone ahead to do what his predecessors failed to do, by not just making this pronouncement, by going ahead to release a list. And we saw some big Nigerians on that list. You know, I expect that that list, they will continue to revise that list, because certainly if we've been told that there are up to 200,000 of them, then that means the list that the IG came with is just like a drop in the ocean. So there are still more people that they need to withdraw their security.
Some Yahoo boys, they carry policemen all around.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes one person may even have 3 or 4.
Yeah.
It is now who has more money. And we see individuals who have business premises, they put policemen, you know, put policemen there.
Permanently?
Yeah, permanently. They close They leave them there. They are like the army guard. They stay there overnight and all that. So we've been saying that for Borno State, for example, communities that have been taken from Boko Haram, we need to bring back civil authority to those communities. But we are unable to do it. We are unable to do it because a lot of those communities are not policed at all. No soldier in a lot of those communities. And you expect people to go and provide amenities for those people. In trying to go there, the Boko Haram people will take you and they'll take your life. So we need policemen to even be sent to a lot of those communities. There are local government quarters in Borno State where there is no evidence of civil authority, no policemen on ground, no soldier on ground. We need them. We can't. The pressure on the army is just too much. We need to get some of our policemen to be drafted to those areas. And there was a time when I heard that our policemen were being trained in Boneyadi. You know, they were being trained there for preparatory to deploying them to some communities that were reclaimed from Boko Haram. But on the day of the deployment, it was a near riot situation because those guys said, no, we are not going. They refused. This is not, I'm not making this up. It happened. They refused. You went through, they even have their own special uniform. Those policemen who went through that training in Buniyadi, they have their own, they gave them a special uniform befitting of the special training that they were given. But when it came to deploying, to the they said, no, it's not going to happen. We refuse. They refused bluntly. I was surprised about maybe 2 years ago or almost 3 years.
That's the difference between a policeman and a military.
They're not ready to die.
It's not possible.
They're not ready to die. And then why are you posting me to Borno State? Because of what?
To that matter, when you want to look at the situation now in Lagos now is almost chaotic. Passing down Ojota under bridge now, area boys, they've taken over the traffic there. And I'm not sure those guys that I've seen, by the time it is 7:30, they might start robbing. Because you can't tell me any person is licensed. You want to control traffic and you have your cordial, you have your market.
I think let's just be practical and look at the statistics we have to know whether we have a police system at all. Okay, when you look at the fact that, let us assume that 200,000 have been taken away from the supposed 500,000 policemen. And let us also assume that we are just 180 million. It means we have about one policeman to about 60,000 or 600,000 persons in this country, policing the law of the country. Yes.
60,000?
Yes, because that's what it means. Yes, if you now have that kind of situation, which means the way the hoodlums took over major cities like Lagos, Abuja, Imo, Enugu, it's justified. That was why police have to run away, because they don't have the strength and capacity to even withstand those particular people who came to invade their police station. So that gives you the impression that we are seriously under-policed. And when we are seriously under-policed, when you have a situation whereby
growing in number.
These people are growing in number, and these people are in our pockets. You know, if there's a country in the world that lives by grace, and GRACE, such a country is Nigeria. Because during the COVID thing, the World Health Organization, by now, we should have been picking people on the road. But God has been so kind to us. We have a serious crisis, and we have about 300,000 policemen to get. Out of that 300,000, 20,000 or 50,000 of them are for senior police officers. So we also have to deduct, guide their boss. They follow their wives to the market. They normally take their children to school. So the figure is even more embarrassing than that. So what it means is that for every serious country, a period of crisis brings out the best in leadership. A period of crisis gives you the opportunity to reassess yourself and get the true picture of things. This period of EndSARS should have provided a template for our government to know whether we are under police or not. Because in spite of what the idea has done, it has not done anything. Nothing has been done. Okay, if they now said that about 45,000 rifles have been taken away from the police station, all the states of Nigeria, I can say it with all my emphasis, the only thing state government don't buy for the police is gone. All of them, all the state government, because they don't have the license. Yeah. All the state government in Nigeria supply all the police. If the Lagos state government should stop supplying Nigerian police in Lagos with vehicles, pick-up vans, there won't be any vehicle in any police station. Same thing Ogun. They even buy armor tanks. Same thing in Oyo State. Same thing in Enugu, Anambra. So what we are saying now is that we should have used this particular opportunity to reassess our police formation in this country and to know whether we are doing well or not, because it is so embarrassing. And it's also an opportunity for those people who believe that the state policing is not an option. Okay, if Lagos State is spending about 1.5 billion every year to provide vehicles that will, if you see those vehicles after 6 months, you will ask yourself questions. If you take them 1.5 billion, which means Lagos can effectively run a police system. And if they can run a police station, there are some local governments in Lagos too that can also run a communal police station. If we don't address this problem from this particular angle, we will continue having problems. Because now, rivals have been taken away from major police stations. How do you encourage them to go out to defend the people when the unitary is here? So it means that we just have to go back to the drawing board and see the practicability of retaining this unitary system of policing in Nigeria. Because I believe the federal government, if the federal government cannot provide vehicles, how can you say that the federal government should continue to control the police in Nigeria if it will take each of the state government to buy vehicles, to even launch a special trust fund? What do they use it for? To pay allowances to police officers and to buy operational vehicles. The only thing federal government, like I said, is gone. So let us
why are they constantly underfunding?
Why are they constantly doing that?
Because the budget allocation to the police should improve.
When you get to a police station, ordinary to write a statement, they don't have it. So what are we doing? So this
you can even borrow your biro.
So this period of crisis, the federal government should just sit down and look at this period of crisis to address the problem of the police in Nigeria. That's just it.
I also think that sometimes we blame the police more because we see their inadequacies, but we don't look at the inadequacies from where the budgeting comes in. Now, we just talked about Impress now, 34,000. Even in an office where it is not security related, can 34,000 a month do anything? 34,000 includes buying fuel and everything. Yes. And that is the reason why
service their vehicles.
That is the reason why you find out that petrol stations that are situated in the
vicinity of
the police station, they always go there to collect fuel. Therefore, there's still that problem that is there. And don't also forget that there is now the problem between the IG and the police commission. The 10,000 or whatever they are supposed to recruit. They are still on it now. They are the police commission. Exactly. So why should that be a problem? Why should that be a problem? Are there no laid down rules of who should be a policeman, the process of recruiting them and training them? It is all this power play that is always the problem, and we don't face the issue that we should face.
Unfortunately, the head of the Police Service Commission is the former Inspector General of Police.
Do you know that there's a school of thought that is even arguing that the chairman of Police Service Commission should not be a policeman at all? Should not even be somebody who has ever had. Exactly.
There are some countries of the world
don't need that.
Where you head the police either in a county or a state without even any background in the police.
Exactly. There are people who read psychology, those are the kind of people
at that level you are just supervising.
Exactly.
It's not as if you go
It's not as if you, exactly. So we need to rethink all these things. If we don't rethink all these steps, we are still going to be running around in the same circle.
Health Minister has warned that a second wave of coronavirus pandemic looms with recent spike in infection rates and advises Nigerians to quickly return to the use of face masks and social distancing. The virus is still lurking around as Niger State Governor Abubakar Sani Bello, among many others, have tested positive for coronavirus. Wow. there was a time it took this EndSARS took the shine off coronavirus, and we felt coronavirus has you know, been relegated to the background. But right now, with this second wave, right now in United Kingdom, they're on their second lockdown. I think Germany also, the second lockdown.
Spain.
And some European countries, they're experiencing a kind of hard time. And the first task that Joe Biden is going to face as the President of the United States of America is how to address coronavirus ravaging the United States of America.
I think basically we have one local problem in there, and that's the problem of the people themselves. So let me give you an instance. On August 8th, I traveled to Ibadan with my wife. You know, when we went for a wedding, that was supposed to be myself. You know, at a stage, we got embarrassed. Myself and my wife, we are the only one who decided looking at us as if we came from the moon. I decided looking at my wife, not telling me, look at what is happening. I said, I won't remove my own. No. So when we were about to take photographs, I stayed there for 6 hours. And you see, I can tell you 99.9%, including the transporters, including those motor boys, including those people who are in the party, they didn't wear it at all. It was as if you are in a strange country. Now, look at what is happening now with the students have resumed. Those who resumed now, they are in primary school, nursery school, and that's why you have spike in Lagos. In UK, the problem they are facing now is that since the children resumed from school, they have had a spike in UK. In fact, the rate of death in UK now is so alarming, and Germany too. So, thank God that they are yet to resume here. I think if we have MAMSA or we have any other agencies, people have to take it seriously. That thing is real. But it appears by our own social life, by our attitude. Even when you enter bus in Lagos, they will tell you that they will just look at you twice like, why is this man like this? So I think we have to do more.
Even in
churches, they have to do more. They have to do more in enlightening the people and telling the people that that thing is real and that the chance of survival is 10 to 90. So I think we have to do more in telling the people because that thing is real. But unfortunately, our social life, people even embrace themselves.
They've gone back.
They have gone back. It's back to normal. So I still
find myself when I'm, when I want to exchange presidency, still trying to do like this.
But there's no restraint at all.
That person is opening his hands to be as if you are rude.
Yes.
Especially if that person is an elderly person.
Yes.
You are doing like this, you are trying to.
There was a wedding that I attended, my PA's wedding. Everyone, you do like this, they refuse to open.
Hey, Baba Jide.
Everyone wanted to shake. Everyone wanted to shake. So I ran back to my car and brought my sanitizer. Only the sanitizer left in the car was little. So now I told my wife, I said, this is a problem. These people, they just want to be shaking me at will. And some of them are elderly people, you know our culture. They turn down. So I called one of the guys at the wedding. I said, go and help me get a sanitizer. So he told his wife that I was going to buy sanitizer for me. And that place where we did the wedding is Yano Yesi.
Yes, I see we are going to Ziroko.
That area, that area to even get there.
It's like
you are traveling from here to Akure.
It's possible for me to get Akure ahead of you.
Yes.
God help you. Bad roads and all that. So I knew that it would take the guy a long time to even get to where he can get the sanitizer. And so once he told his wife, the wife had one in her handbag. So they gave me that one. I now put it in my pocket. Once you shake me, I'll use it.
Some will even take offense and think that
at that point, I didn't send them. At least I've shown humility by shaking. To then say that I cannot sanitize my hand immediately after shaking. No, I will not. That one, I won't accept that. So that was what I did. We are back to the pre-coronavirus era. In our country, we've thrown caution to the wind.
So governors
are no longer interested in funding this whole thing. Tests are not taking place. Tests are being suppressed now because people have seen this test is costly to do this test.
Do we have anything like isolation center?
A lot of them have been shut down. They believe that we have declared victory over Corona
that is it.
before its time. And it's not helped by the attitude of some of our people who up till now, despite that 1 million people have died, there are still some unthinking Nigerians who are saying no, that this coronavirus. One even sent me a message on Facebook, said, Jide, can you see? He posted a video of one white man rubbishing claims about coronavirus. He now said, I said, please, do not send this kind of thing to me again. I've lost friends this year, and I've seen people die who are not even my friends. For me to believe this silly claim. So he said, and it's just to remind you that the governor of Kogi was right, and that this, I said, leave me, do not bring this silly claims. Don't bring these silly claims to my space. Don't bring it to my space, because if you bring it to my space,
I'll block
I'm
you.
going to
I'll send you to the blocking the
yes, which my sister has popularized. So now it is clear that we must go back to using our mask, especially when we are in public places. For some of us, we are forcing ourselves. You see someone, he wants to buy something, maybe at Mr. Biggs or somewhere, and they tell him you cannot enter. He will now go into his car, he will be searching everywhere, meaning that he has even stopped using it for some time. But thankfully too, there are usually people around who are ready to sell. Since you are careless,
big outlets in Lagos that still insist that you cannot enter without
even some places, they take count of how many people are inside before they allow you to go in. And
the banks too, they are still
the banks. That's what I keep telling people, that the worst is not over.
It's not yet over.
Because places are being opened does not mean the worst is over. It's just that, look, we cannot continue to do like this, to hold the economy to ransom. But people must also take care.
Don't you think because of the hunger ravaging the country, the people would rather take that hunger more seriously?
Well, it is only
coronavirus.
It is only a human being that is alive that will be hungry. If you are dead, will you be hungry? I mean, it's better I'm alive and hungry.
In the grave, there's no hunger.
I mean, it's better I'm alive and hungry than to be dead and not be hungry.
And so we have seen people who afford 1,000 meals, 1,000 square meals per day.
Exactly.
Who are killed by this.
So the best thing is, it is better to err on the side of caution. That is what I always tell people. Because some people still dismiss it and say, look,
people can still look at Buhari and say it's not that Buhari died a long time ago.
People are still just trying to justify that.
I mean, to the point that the president is forced again to say, no, I've not died. You know that, you know how silly and unthinking these people can be. If indeed Buhari was cloned, then Nigeria will be the headquarters of science in the world.
Oh, of course.
People, if you can clone a man in record time, then the whole world should be coming to us.
So that's the way
to teach them.
Come and learn from our former President Yaradua fell sick. They couldn't clone him. He died.
It took a long period of time.
But if you know the number of people out there that still believe that,
I'm telling you,
I'm saying that if we can,
and most born out of hatred.
Of course.
No, because they wish that he's dead. They wish that he's dead.
And unfortunately for them, the man in real life they are wishing. That's the justice.
The thing is, the man has not died. In fact, he came back from his sickness stronger.
And more handsome.
Yes. You know, some of what we saw about him, by the time he came back, he was stronger. Yes, he was stronger. When he took that 800-meter walk from his house in Daura to the mosque, even his own children were dazed. That this sickness is like blessing in disguise, because it has made this man stronger. So people can't live with that, and they are now assuming that he's been dead for so long. So what one can say is, if indeed we can successfully clone our president,
then we should be headquarters
then
of cloning.
we should be headquarters
of
people science, so that people from America,
From all over the
Singapore,
They will
Germany, they will come and learn. They will
How
come
to
and
clone.
learn from our professorial chair on cloning.
The guy from Sudan was told he has eloped. So
Yes.
this is the new one. The body double from Niger Republic.
Silly things. It's only the people who do this is on social media that they sit and talk about all these things.
If they use that time for something more profitable.
Yes, they won't. They
You
won't.
see more educated
It
people.
takes-
that
it takes-
you'll be shocked.
It takes people.
They'll tell you. Somebody asked me, honestly, are you very sure that that's the president? I said,
Somebody will even tell you the way he was talking was not the way he spoke.
You know, 2 weeks ago I was at a function. I have to tell the man, he must be older than me. I said, I'm very sorry, sir, but you are an old man. How can you believe this? He looked at him like this. How can you be believing at this your age?
okay, Jide, let's round it up with a lockdown, the possibility of a lockdown. Can we afford a lockdown again?
The answer is no. No.
After the first lockdown,
Yeah, after
we
the
EndSARS lockdown,
looting.
just for 1 year.
If you see the damage that coronavirus has done to economies
Economy of
across the
Nigeria,
world,
across the world.
then in the case of our country, we are even much more vulnerable.
Yeah.
Talking about the economy, compared to countries like Germany, countries like Spain, and the rest of them, it is not feasible to come up with the idea of another lockdown. Because we must balance our determination to keep people alive with actually getting them to be in position to feed themselves, to fend for themselves. How many people can government reach, even with the so-called palliatives? The palliatives that led people to go on riot in the past few weeks were meant for just 60 million Nigerians.
Out of 200 million.
Yes, that's the best interest and the best effort of those business people, meant for just 60 million
60
people.
million.
Yes, still a good number of our people will not be reached because a lot of those things will be diverted.
Yeah.
Government refused to be alive to its responsibilities of providing succor for our people. So our people would rather prefer to be left where they are, so that they can fend for their children, for their families. Because look at a lot of people depend on daily income, for example, the Okada riders and even these motorboys. They are the most violent.
I'm telling you,
in
those
our
are the
population.
yes, those are the people that come and rock havoc.
If they don't, if for any reason, you saw what happened the last time.
Yeah.
If for any reason they cannot go out to work, they will start breaking into people's homes.
The TVC News at 7 and the TVC News at 10 are not like any other news broadcast.
It's the big news hour, the hour for the big breaking stories,
We've got some of the best reporters on the field.
taking you through as it happens,
It's fast-paced, hard-hitting,
with investigations that matter,
bringing in news that affects your life.
with sport, entertainment, and business news, so you don't miss a thing.
Experience resourceful coverage with depth.
Every night.
Now, beginning from 2021, only professional teachers with first class, listen to that, first class or second class upper qualification will be employed. The federal government says this move is part of its renewed efforts to improve the quality of teaching and learning in Nigerian schools. Gentlemen, this is
Professional teachers.
professional teachers. That means BED.
Yes.
Yes. If you must go through the Faculty of Education,
Exactly. Yeah.
and in that Faculty of
Exactly.
Education, you must have a
First
first
class.
class or a 2-1. And if the GP system that we went through, I think a first class, anybody.
4.5 out of 5.
Okay, I think my reaction when I read the report was one of excitement. Excitement because we have had this story told of how poorly, the standards have fallen in our educational system. And much of that has been attributed to, the quality of teaching, in the educational sector. So it was pleasing to read that government, had come up with an initiative that would drive the most brilliant set of students in our higher institutions, to take to teaching. Again, this is founded on some kind of assumption that anyone who has a first class
can also
is good enough to be a teacher. So
lately, some schools, they place emphasis on it. They cannot take you if you don't graduate from, if you don't have NCE or from the Faculty of Education.
Yes, Ayo, we are driving at something. Ayo, we are driving at something, which is that the government is assuming that anyone who has a first class is good enough to teach. It's an assumption.
It should be good enough to teach.
Yes, it's good to assume that anyone who has that. Yes. Because I speak because I have come across students who have had higher grades, and you wonder the quality of students that our institutions are turning out. It's disturbing. This is not to say that those who make first class are not good enough, but I have my worries. So, good initiative, but we want to be sure that those who have first class or very good 2-1 are indeed good enough, because you can be a fantastic student and not have the right skill required to teach. That is the point. There are those who, in fact, we have had cases of professors, PhD holders, who, if you ask them to stand before a class and impart knowledge, it will be zero. I'm sorry. So it is good. The intention is fantastic, but we need to be sure that the right questions have been asked regarding how this is going to be executed in terms of policy. I think that is very critical. But fantastic idea.
Yes, and this is just from the surface. I know that when we see the details of this scheme, we'll know maybe the government is in the right direction. But from just the surface, as he analyzed it, this should be a good step.
No, it's a good step, But just like you said, I'm not sure that is everybody that has a first class that can impart knowledge, because you can have a first class in engineering and you have never gone to any engineering. If they give you maybe a car for you to dismantle and couple back, you can't even do it, but you have a first class. Just imagine that. So even if you are a teacher, for instance, a physics teacher, because there are so many schools in Nigeria, they don't have labs, but somebody will come out with first class. And you want that person to now impart the same knowledge to your kid, to your child. It's not possible. That is where we are going to. So we need to also see the policy. And then the Nigeria of today, how many students or how many people
will be willing to
with my first class,
with your first class, we want to go to teaching. The people that you see going into teaching are those who may be out of, like when I was in school, Ayo, the person who had 2-1 was the one even doing lecturing for us. Those aside lecturing.
Yes.
At the end of the day, he had 2-1. We all had 2-1 together, So at the end of the day, he was the one lecturing. As in, you understand? So there are some people who will even come out with even third class, and they are good teachers. That is, they can impart knowledge. By the time you see them reading, and then you tell them, explain this to me, the way they will explain it to you will be better than how your lecturer even explained it in class. So it's a good step, but we don't know how far it will go in seeing that the education system will be able to be improved, in any way. Because first class, but Nigeria of today, how much are they also going to give? Because, for instance, if you are bringing out a first class student from school, he's graduating with first class, the first thing his parents will say, go and look for job in the bank, go and look for job in one oil company and all that. By the time you say, I want to go to teaching, you say, how much are they paying? How much would they be willing to pay the first class student?
And I think that is very critical. Because
when you look at the level of unemployment, it's a different ball game now that Dangote advertised some years ago that
Master
needed
degree holders
truck
for-
drivers, and PhD holder applied.
Have you forgotten Jimo Ibrahim then too?
Yes.
First class. But when
Yeah, so
They applied to be tanker drivers.
yeah, the numbers are really very worrisome because the last time, one was privy to see the unemployment figures, released by Nigerian
Bureau of Statistics.
Yeah, Bureau of Statistics. It's very disturbing. The percentages are very disturbing. So you have what you could describe as a near scramble. Each time you put out a notice for graduates, first degree holders, you have people with PhD applying. It speaks to the level of
exactly.
unemployment in the system. But what can we do? Government says it's doing all within its powers to create jobs, create the right environments for industry to
Those days,
survive.
in
and all
master's
that.
class, there are people that maybe they want to end up being lecturers.
Yes.
Because immediately after your first degree, you are able to pick up a job. Maybe you come for your MBA,
True.
part-time,
True.
later. But right now, from the final year, from your NYC, when you don't get a job, you go back to your master's. It's like promotion exam.
Yes.
Go back to masters and the master's class. If you want to do any masters in Unilag now, you have to take qualifying examination.
Exactly.
Yes, because
you have to
it's so competitive. Everybody wants to.
Yeah, it's been that way for a very long time. It's unlike in the past when employers of labor would head towards the universities before you graduate.
Yes,
they already come in, conduct aptitude tests, and then pick. But so much has changed. We can't sit down here and begin to bemoan our situation. The fact of the matter is that our country has witnessed tremendous economic crisis. We've lost opportunities to grow our economy and ensure that the numbers are right for citizens to get employed and all that. The right environment is not being created. We can sit down here and bemoan all that.
One month after the EndSARS protests in Nigeria, the country is still reeling in the aftermath. Perhaps the issues thrown up by the protests may linger for us longer. One of the fallouts of the alleged mass resignation by police officer who could not bear what they suffered during the protests. But the Inspector General of Police, Muhammadu Adamu, is rejecting the quick notice by the officers. Meanwhile, the serving overseer of Citadel Global Community Church and convener of the Save Nigeria Group, Pastor Tunde Bakari, wants the federal government to reverse the decision to freeze bank accounts of some of the EndSARS protesters. He also condemned the seeming clampdown on the campaigners. So, MJ, let me start with the backlash. We've seen in Lagos that policemen, when you see an average policeman on the streets, their morale is low. They are hardly in those areas that they used to be. And even I know that there's a lot of stretch in the work of the RRS, because the RRS is well funded and their morale is still higher than the regular police command. But 23,000 policemen in Lagos, they are nowhere to be found. And in places that you see them, they are just keeping not as what they used to do. Now, the fallout is that the number of their colleagues that they lost to this EndSARS protests, not necessarily the legitimate protesters, but the fallout. Criminals, I know of some areas that criminals will identify a certain policeman that has been a policeman that has been like a thorn in their flesh. They'll go after that policeman and they'll kill the policeman.
Yeah,
sometimes they take the rifle and do a lot of things.
A critical case like is that of the Oloson DPO.
Oloson?
Yeah, in Mushin.
Mushin?
Yeah, they actually went after him and he was struggling. They killed him in the most dastardly manner. I mean, that's the police station
they've marked him before.
They marked him.
This guy is like a thorn in our flesh.
In their flesh. So
stopping them from carrying out their nefarious activities.
They physically assaulted him. I mean, the video went viral, and you could see another policeman that, I mean, the hoodlums, I won't call them EndSARS protesters now. The hoodlums actually pushed a knife into his nose. And they were trying to pull it out. He was struggling. I mean, they were hitting him, and at the end of the day, they set him ablaze.
Was set ablaze?
Yeah, so in all, 6 policemen were lynched all over the country.
I'm sure with MJ might be more than that.
Well,
people they can't account for.
Official,
the way we
officially that's
I'm
what
telling you.
That's what the police that's the figure.
There's a very funny video that Tayo Famous School sent to me from Ibadan.
Yeah,
those ones they'll say,
yeah, and also about 39 of them critically injured with different degrees of injuries and what have you. And recall also that some of them actually lives in the barracks. You could see when the Lagos State Governor and his team went to Ajegunle police station, barracks. The wives and children of the serving policemen had to appeal to the governor that our husbands have been displaced, our homes have been set ablaze. I mean, they live in the barracks. That they are also human, they are also Nigerian. So this is a time that the morale of an average police officer is at its lowest ebb. And you could see that, I mean, we are approaching Christmas. This is the time that crime rate is normally high in the country. Now, juxtapose that with the fact that we have fewer policemen on the roads. Just yesterday, a friend was telling me how his phone was snatched in traffic between Ketu and Alakbere around 7:30 p.m. Because I was trying to reach him earlier this morning. He had to call me with another number that his phone was snatched at gunpoint. Things that we have put behind us in Lagos are now
coming back. Was that traffic jam?
Inside traffic, yeah. Between Alakbere and
so
Ketu.
Traffic robbers are back now.
They are back because you know at a point we had some policemen on motorbikes that were always, and even if you go on Third Mainland, anytime from 4 p.m. you will see them at about 10 meters on the median of the Third Mainland Bridge, but they are no longer there. I mean, despite the fact that the IG has issued a directive to withdraw policemen from politicians to deploy more of them into the streets. But you see that there is the converging point for most of them are no longer available.
The fundamental issue is this,
yes,
the morale.
And now to expect that, you know, I think about 46 police stations were set ablaze all over the country. So where would you get that directive, that telex message, that command that normally come? You know, normally in the morning they do their parade where they are deployed to places. So all those ones are gone. The Lagos State government has undertaken to rebuild all the police stations that were burnt in Lagos, but does other states have that capacity? Do they, I mean, do they have other states?
The financial
wherewithal to fix that in other states? And you can't say you even want to wait for the federal government to fund the police, because the police is even underfunded. So it's a question of a whole rejig of the police architecture in terms of funding, training, even they need psychological training. We need to boost their psychology, and for those who have just been retrieved or deployed from the SARS team, to be properly integrated into the police force, because a lot of things need to be done.
Mr. Ibili, now we're not even talking about welfare now. We're not even talking about the poor salary and everything that the EndSARS people actually were advocating for. But we're talking about a threat to their lives, that they are even tired of the job. That, you know, before, when you see a policeman, there's a tendency that when you see that policeman, if you are not wearing your seatbelt before, or you're doing something that is wrong, you want to adjust before you get to the next checkpoint. But right now, people are so indifferent when it comes to any police patrol.
You know, it is not enough for the Inspector General to reject the mass resignation. What the police command needs to do is to cast a retrospect into itself. What exactly happened? Why are people resigning? And if you say you are rejecting their resignation, you can force a horse to the river, you can't force it to drink water.
Yeah.
If I tell you I'm no longer interested in a job and you insist that you are not going to accept my resignation, is either...
I'll do it the way I like.
Exactly. So now what the police force really need is that a look into itself. The High Command must begin to look at what is happening to the force itself. Yes, we always talk about poor pay of the police, poor this and poor that. But the question is, there is no any sector in the Nigerian economy today that is properly funded. Is it education you want to talk about? Is it transportation? Is it this? But the question we need to ask ourselves is this. Even the little that is voted for the police, how is it administered? If you give a DPO 20 or 30,000 naira to run a full-fledged police station, what does he do with it? We spoke about this some time ago. All they need to do now, one, they need to rebuild the confidence of their officers. It is not a time to continue to issue order, go back to your job, this, and that. It won't work because they are all human beings like us. All they need to do is to summon a meeting with all the hierarchy of the police and discuss with them. We know you have been wrong. You know that many of your colleagues have been killed, but we are ready to make amends. For instance, some of the police officers' wives who were killed that the governor visited, if not because of the fact that the kind of uproar it will raise, and because perhaps their rooms were burnt, immediately the husband died, they will give them a quick notice. That is the usual practice, which should not be. So there must be a way to make the confidence in the police to be there, because, I mean, if you know you want to die in a profession, there must be something in it, either for you or for the people you are going to leave behind. Because if most of those who are reported to have resigned now, if you check it very well, those are the people who have sat down and looked at it. Maybe their parents have called, their wives have told them that, look, it's better you leave this job and be alive than stay there and be killed. So we need to re-engineer the police force in a way that it will make people to be proud to be policemen. Majority of those who we have in the police force today is just like majority of those who we have as teachers. There are people who, after looking for job left, right, and center and everywhere, they don't get any job, they go to the police force. There was a day I was in a traffic, there was this policeman, when he stopped me, and after we started talking, he now told me that he asked for, because he saw the sticker in my car. He said, do I know so person? I said, yes, I know him. He said, he wanted to be a journalist. And that the guy tried for him to get him a job as a journalist. He didn't get a job. That's why he joined the police force. I said, so today now, if you get a job as a journalist, are you coming back? I said, yes. What does that tell you? It means that he's in the police force, not satisfied with what he's doing there. So we must, in a way, find how we are going to make these people satisfied with their job. The way they are being treated, even by the system. Forget about the way they are treated on the road. The way the system treats them is also unfair. You transfer somebody from Lagos to Maiduguri, he has never been there before, he doesn't have a house to live. How does he survive? He will start sleeping either inside the car or inside the police, one of the rickety office there. So we must not blame them. As much as we understand their plight, we must also help them to cope with the system. The system itself must look at itself and rearrange itself. I think the Inspector General of Police and the Police Service Commission need to do a lot more.
The clamor for a president of Nigeria from the Igbo extraction has divided opinion on whether power is demanded or taken. But the Igbo people of the southeast Nigeria have continued to call for them to produce the next president of Nigeria. A socio-political organization conference of Igbo youth professionals worldwide has declared that the southeast region will produce the next president in 2023 with the support of those in diaspora. The national president of the Igbo, Madabuchi Wodo, said there's no going back on this as they will deploy persuasion and conviction to achieve an Igbo presidency in 2023. He wants people from other parts of the country to recognize their cry for the marginalization and to produce, and the cost to produce the next president. I wish my friend Emeka Madunagu to be around here, and it would have been very, very good to trash this out. But
or Ibe Mary.
Yes, Sam Ibe Mary. Now we are talking about a tripod, you know, standing on 3 legs. And anytime they want to refer to Nigeria, they say they have 3 major tribes, Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba. And since 1999, let's just take it from 1999. We don't want to look at the first military interregnum, second military interregnum. Let's just say we've been doing this unwritten law that states something about rotational presidency. So since 1999 till now, it has not gotten to the turn of the 3rd leg in the tripod. What is happening?
Yeah,
the people from the north, they've had their fair share of it. President is from the north, is doing his 2nd term. Yar'Adua did 6 years.
Yeah.
Ulesi Yar'Adua is from the north.
Yeah.
Olusegun Obasanjo did 1999 to 2007. Yeah. So that would have given the southwestern parts, you know, their fair share of the old. Even in this equation, the Niger Delta part actually got another share, which they might not allow him to
by default.
By default,
yeah.
But then the 3rd leg of the tripod, we are not looking at that area.
Yeah, it's you know, it's just like the case of Lagos State. Lagos elects the best, and we've had an Igbo man representing Lagos from the House of Representatives.
Yes.
And even in the House of Assembly.
And the House of Assembly, yeah.
In Lagos. So, but the approach of the Southeast, I think it's a bit wrong for 2023 because you need to cut other zones of the country. It is something you cannot do alone in terms of numbers.
I'm sure my producer will be working on talking to Emeka Madunagu. Maybe we can get him on the phone.
In terms of numbers, same way the Southwest, where I come from, or even the South-South, cannot attempt to do it alone. It is only the North.
The North cannot even do it
alone. The North cannot. The North cannot. Buhari has always been winning the North until 2015.
Yes.
So no region can do it alone.
You need the collaboration of at least one other major region.
Yeah.
The Southeast is assuming that, well, the South-South will naturally align with them. So they have assumed that. But
no, even the South-South cannot give them.
Even South-East and South-South alone cannot give you the presidency.
No.
You won't have that spread.
No.
You won't have the numbers. You won't have the number of states. So, but now the permutation is that because David Umahi, the governor of Ebonyi State, has signified his intention to defect to the APC. Of course, he has been fraternizing with the APC even since his first time in office. And I see the man is a very smart person. He is looking beyond 2023. He will fly the 2023 presidential tickets, go to APC. You know, APC is not strong in Enugu State, in Ebonyi State. So if APC eventually wins in 2023, he emerges as a minister or what have you. That's the kind of guy.
Do you think that's what is negotiating?
I am telling you. You see, we know these politicians. The same way, Akpabio, he just finished from as a PDP governor. He defected to APC. Today, he's a minister. Because there are some states in Nigeria, even if there is no candidate, PDP will win. In APC, there are some states in the north or in the south where even if you field the worst candidate to say, or a weakling, the dominant party in that area would win. So the facts are that no zone can do this thing alone. And the approach of the Southeast, I think they are getting it wrong. And they are saying that if the PDP does not zone it to APC, I mean, to the Southeast in 2023, because they already have an inkling that APC is planning to zone presidency to Southeast. From as a political analyst and from my political reading, I doubt if APC will fly a Southeast ticket. They might fly a southern ticket, but not a southern ticket, especially with the weak this thing structure in the
There's another issue of microzoning. Some see it as north-south.
Yes.
That whoever is going to get it, a southerner is a southerner.
Yeah.
Whether from the southeast or southwest. That's what it means to some northerners.
Yes.
Okay, let me quickly take this call. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, Ayo, good evening. This is Joshua calling from Abuja.
Joshua?
Yeah, from Abuja.
All right, go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, I want to talk about this topic you're talking about. You see, actually, there's nothing wrong for the East to produce a president for this nation. There's actually nothing wrong. It's their rights and they are part of the nation. But actually, to me, I think the political party they have been working with ever since, I think the political party is one denying them. Because even 2023, I'm not even seeing PDP zoning their presidency candidates to the Southeast. Because they see our plan, even Atiku see our plan to come back. So how do they want to achieve that? And we all know that, just as Mojid said, they need the entire zone, the entire nation, the entire region to be able to secure presidency. So how do you want to do when you are building all your political career around the PDP? You are not doing things with other parties. So how do you want to succeed? That is the question. I'm not against them. They have the right. But how do they want to do it?
Thank you, Joshua.
Thank you.
Joshua.
God bless you.
So Joshua is talking about, how they intend to do it. I asked you about microzoning, and I said, look, what is good for the goose should be good for the gander.
It is, and they have a legitimate request. However, my fear or my worry with them is that they are doing it in a way that they think there is no need to carry any other region along. If you discuss with most of them, who are articulate and talking about this, they point at what happened in 1999. 1999 was an exception. I'm not even talking of that now. Why it came to the Southwest.
Yeah,
the issue
and
exactly.
Olufalai.
The issue then was that the Southwest fell injured with the annulment of the June 12 election.
Yeah.
And they know that if the Southwest doesn't come in, there's going to be trouble. But the Southwest didn't do it alone. You also remember that when the campaign started, who will be president and all that, it was a build-up of connections and a handshake across the Niger and all that. But our brothers from the Southeast, they are pursuing it as a birthright. That since the Southwest have got its own share, the Southeast the North has had its own share, it is their own. It is. If you look at it, on the issue of equitability. But power is never given
a la carte.
A la carte. You have to work for it. And you also need to build friendship across your region.
This is what is giving life to the agitation of Biafra. Because when some people, when they are feeling that, look, it has been skewed against them, they believe that out of every region, that with 66 states, the Southeast is the only region with 5 states. They believe in terms of population, in terms of projection, everything is skewed against them. It's not in their advantage. And when you're saying that power should be taken, and they know that you've already, for the PDP, some guys have dominated it. From the APC, some guys have dominated it. And look, you are not giving us a kind of fair chance in this contest.
I'm glad that you raised that issue. And you see, I'll take us back to 1999, where we started from. There were, I think, 3 dominant parties.
Yeah.
We had ABGA for the Southeast.
1999?
Yeah.
No?
ABGA.
In 1999?
99, yes.
No.
Which was Ojuku's party?
ANPP.
So,
no.
It was 2000.
Ojuku founded ABGA.
ABGA later.
Yeah, later, yeah.
2003.
Sorry, 2003.
Not in 1999.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry,
Yes.
2003. But in 2003, with ABGA,
Peter Obi ran.
How many states did ABGA win?
Even in the South.
With Ojuku as
their
an idol,
rallying point.
as the rallying point.
Yeah.
Just one state. Now, the AD, metamorphosed into AC. Or ACN was still able to garner. In 1999, they got 6 states. Because of the problem between Obasanjo and
factions. AD had factions.
Yes. There were issues in 2003. They lost some states. But in 2007, they came back strongly. And 2010, and you could see how AD, ACN, now APC, how they have been growing. They became a force to reckon with. That was why CPC could come into an alliance with an APC, because they saw that.
Not forgetting another strong party, ANPP. That used to be APP.
APP, yeah, ANPP.
When you talk about Northeast,
yes,
very, very
now,
Northeast.
I said four dominant parties then.
Yes.
ANPP, AD,
PDP,
PDP, and one other party then. So, but the Southeast has not been able to give. They've been hiding under the umbrella of the PDP, which is perceived as a quote-unquote northern party. Now, you didn't give people that choice of negotiating with you.
Let's quickly sign out from our entertainment platform, and you can join us on DSTV 418 and GoTV 45 and our other platforms across the world. Okay.
So, going to 20, I hope they won't make the same mistake going to 2023. It is now they need to build an alliance. Look at the Arewa. About 2 weeks ago, they had a lecture in Kaduna.
Yeah.
They invited somebody from the Southwest to come and deliver
the lecture.
A lecture. Now, I expect that the Ohanese would now start galvanizing, invite people from the Southwest, invite people from the north to a place like Oka, like Enugu, like Onitsha. Organize a forum, discuss restructuring, discuss the unity of Nigeria, discuss things that, discuss the Nigerian economy. Use a topic that will be a focal point that can galvanize a lot of people towards that place. Then people will know that, yes, you are getting ready. People will start thinking, these guys, they're up to something. That is the only way you can do it. You can't just force your way. You don't have the numbers.
No.
The same way the Southwest does not have the numbers. With at least 2 or 3 zones must come together to produce, before you can produce a presidency. And it always has to be, except perchance if the APC, as they speculated, but which I doubt, fields an instant candidate.
What we are going to do is that I'm going to make sure that we'll raise this topic again when I have the likes of Emeka, not because of where they come from, but I want everybody to be represented. And it's always good to give a fair and voice, and you get the way it is. So we'll leave it there. After what many call a questionable performance by the Super Eagles against Sierra Leone at Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin City, Edo State on Friday, the coach, Janet Roy, and his technical crew were summoned by the president of the Nigerian Football Federation, Amaju Pinnick. During the match, the Lone Stars fought back to tie the game 4-4 on Friday, after the Eagles wasted a 4-goal advantage to delay their qualification. The visitors made a comeback, scoring 3 unreplied goals in a 14-minute spell. Was too much for the soccer-loving Nigerians to hear. Now, joining us is Mie Akiri. Mie,
good to be here.
Well, Edo State, that was a monumental disaster.
Well, you can call it anything, but to a large extent, Nigerians are still trying to get over, what happened in Benin City, especially if you consider the fact that at halftime, it was 4-1. It took the Super Eagles 30 minutes to score 4 goals. But in the space of 14 minutes, the Lone Stars of Sierra Leone, when the Stars were indeed shining brightly at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium, they came back and they got a deserved 4-all draw. And that brings questions about getting through the Nigerian Football Federation. A saying says attitude is everything. A Ghana will tell you, I don't have all the time in the world to train with these professional players because we only make use of the FIFA free windows and also opportunities like this to train. But lo and behold, Nigerians who were at Benin City and those who followed the Super Eagles passionately, despite the fact that fans and a lot of people were not allowed into the stadium, that their attitude during training, called for a lot of questions. And if the Nigerian Football Federation is also summoning Kenneth Raw, I want to ask why. I've not seen this happen before, but I'm saying that I saw that days before the game, the deputy governor of the state trained with the Super Eagles. Days on the final training, we also had the NFF president, training with the Super Eagles.
What was that?
And you want to ask, on the final day, a day before the game, which was their final training session, and you want to ask yourself, has the Super Eagles been politicized or what? Because, yes, I saw the... You
were distracted.
That's just distraction. See, let me give an example. Where football is big business, and we'll always go to Europe. A player once said, when we train, during training, even manager Arsene Wenger would leave us. His assistant, Pat Rice, will hold the whistle, take charge, he will officiate. Because Wenger himself was worried because our training was intense and very physical. Even in training, players don't want to lose. That was during the era of Patrick Vieira and Thierry Henry at Arsenal Football Club. And that was a Koulibaly, admitting that. That training was very physical. That showed the attitude, the mentality of players in training. But here we have, these players don't have all the time in the world to come and train all the time, to play all the time. But here we hear the deputy governor is training with the Super Eagles. Yes, the former chairman of Gombe State Football Association, Shuaibu Gara Gombe, wrote an article and said, well, to a large extent, some may want to question that. That yes, you also must understand that for a coach, there are 15 minutes whereby you could indeed do some light training then, maybe afterwards. But hey, you can't discard the fact that these players
would have been distracted because those of them who are urging them to go and win are even there playing with them, so they will take
don't want to
advantage of
believe
that.
it is the Philip Shuaibu that trained with the Super Eagles that made them to lose.
It's the attitude. It's the attitude.
Now, these players, when you look at the attitude compared to the 91st squad, those ones, they were ready to die for Nigeria. There's this sense of patriotism. I couldn't spot this sense of patriotism in the Eagles.
Now, if you talk about patriotism, we should also question certain culture that we now imbibe in the Super Eagles or what we accept today. Asuka also want to agree, and you may also want to agree or disagree with me. A certain man, John Fashanu, wanted to play for Nigeria under Clemens Pestawa. He came all the way from England and could not break into the Super Eagles team. He found it difficult to break into the Nigerian team.
It was
the players we had were
very
homegrown.
competitive.
But today, what they tell you and I, and what my colleagues and I accept today, is that, oh, the Nigerian league is so bad that our players cannot break into the Super Eagles anymore. But where did the players come from years past? What was our league like years past? Yes, you want to agree that the economy is bad today to a large extent. Naira
That's just a reflection of what is happening in the country.
Now you want to say maybe players just want to travel abroad just to make more money or whatsoever, but that does not mean we don't have the talent anymore.
I think that is one of the major problems that we have, because we have relegated our own homegrown league to this sense that we have to depend on those outside.
We don't just depend. We beg them. We beg them to come and play for Nigeria today.
If Nwobi says that he's not going to come, it's like we don't have another Nwobi in our league. And it was look at. I was looking at the goalkeeper. I don't even know his name himself. I don't even know where he comes from. Do you want to tell me? Do you want to tell me we don't have a good keeper in our local league?
James, a goalkeeper is as good as the rest of the team. I don't want to believe that the players that were featured in that match were not talented enough. Let me land. I agree with you that we had a bundle of talents at home, but this same set of footballers have also given us results in the past. Now, what I think is missing is the spirit of competitiveness, the commitment. This is our worst result in recent times.
But Sam, are they also, you are saying spirit of
competitiveness? Yes.
Now, is this present NFF or the present technical crew that we have giving that room for competition between the local as well as the foreign?
Let me ask you now.
Because that is the problem. Because if I am playing
Gentlemen, what's the situation with Victor Osimhen now?
Well, Victor Osimhen, as we speak, has left the camp of the Super Eagles.
What happened?
Victor Osimhen will not be town. He has a broken arm, and
well, we had it was not bad. It wasn't bad.
No, it was Leon Balogun. It was Leon Balogun that is back. He was substituting that game, and we understand that Leon Balogun is fit.
Osimhen that just signed for
Napoli Football Club. So Osimhen because at this stage you should also understand that the Napoli Football Club will be worried. They would want to know the extent at which the injury may likely take him out of. So that's where they see football as big business over there. So as soon as anything like this comes up, they want to get in touch with their player. They want to know what's the next step to do. So 19 years ago, when Johannes Bonfrey was in charge of the Eagles, Sierra Leone wasn't favorable for him, and he got sacked. Some are asking questions about Kenneth Roy if the result does not go his way in Sierra Leone. Would the Nigerian Football Federation sack him? I doubt the Nigerian Football Federation would sack him. But I have always been of the opinion that to a large extent, it is evident.
What's the connection? What's the attachment? Must it be Kenneth Roy?
Well, see, we've devalued, we have personally devalued the Super Eagles. If anyone says it's my opinion, but the facts are also there. Now, let's go back historically, because as journalists, we could always borrow all these things and put everything in the public. When Stephen Okechukwu was managing the Super Eagles, he was given a target at the 2013 AFCON tournament. Go and win the Nations Cup trophy. And in the match against Cote d'Ivoire, they felt Keshi would not win. In fact, the team tickets was already purchased back to Nigeria
to the visit,
in the game against Cote d'Ivoire.
They didn't believe,
But then, against all odds, The Eagles went, they saw, and they conquered. That was why Keshin resigned in South Africa, because he felt they didn't believe in him. Now, you also want to agree with me that today, not only in football, but in all aspects, where we bring foreign expatriates to come and get the job done, unfortunately, over there in their country, things go well. But when they come to Nigeria, you want to ask yourself, how come we don't get it right even with the foreign expatriates when we bring them to this country and pay them huge sums?
Okay, Ruben is calling us from Saple. That's Saple should be Delta Set.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us, Ruben.
Hi, Billy.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And good afternoon to Sam and Mian and
good afternoon.
Atuko.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah. My contribution is just simple. I would want to say that, you see, when this is football, you understand, we saw what happened to the likes of Manchester United, something happened to Tottenham. I know the Daman miracle is also there. We came back, now we are facing it too. But I want to say that our coach has not tried to imbibe the spirit, this lackadaisical attitude of the players. That is the most painful aspect of it. You see them very sluggish on the pitch. They don't go for the ball. They just relax. I don't know what is happening. And everything in Nigeria it's politics. But before I forget, please, I've been trying to reach people for a long time. I want to felicitate with the management of TVC, and I want to let the public know that TVC is owned by Nigerians. We have come to own it, because the period the station was born, that I hardly watched any other TV station. It was very, very difficult for me to cope. So we even be willing to give our widows might to TVC. Thank you. I'll send my regards. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Ruben, thank you. That's quite touching. Ruben from Saple, in Delta State. Thank you. Thank you for wishing us well. Going back to the Super Eagles now, and the next 3 days. Okay, Sam.
Yeah, because I understand how he feels, you know, if you ever covered sports.
No, it's very annoying.
Yeah, it's
annoying.
Nigerians are very disappointed. If there's anything that
What's
the
rating of Sierra Leone? FIFA.
No, Ayo, there are no more.
When you look at
120.
No,
120.
I think we are getting. I think we are getting a bit. I think we are
imagine that.
No, but I think we are getting a bit too emotional. If you ask me,
no,
let me land. Let me land. Let me land. Because we don't have small teams anymore. We don't have small teams anymore.
By all standards, you should not be comparing Nigeria with Sierra Leone.
3 days ago, Finland went and beat France at home 2-0.
Now,
I mean, so what are we saying?
You will agree with me that Finnish football is on the rise. Finnish football has experienced a lot of investment.
Yes.
Now, see, when they know that the weather is not favorable in their country, they went as far as building, turfs that are protected. You can play indoor. There's a stadium whereby I wouldn't want to say artificial turf, but stadium size, but it's with the right temperature. With the right temperature and everything. Let's ask ourselves. Now, the question I want to ask you and the Magic Pinnick-led board is this. The funds for developmental football coming from FIFA, where is it going? If today we feel Nigerians who play back home in this country are not good enough to play in the Super Eagles, then what do you do with developmental funds to develop football in your country? I'm going
to respond this way, because
we
are building. No, I'm not.
Okay,
but Ayo.
4 years. It was 2026.
There are 4 of us on this table.
Okay.
I don't expect all of us to hold same views.
Yes,
but I'm also
that's
asking very practical questions. If that match had ended 4-0, would you have held the same views about Guinea?
Obviously, no.
No. Fine. So what we're saying is, my earlier argument is that we don't have small, in quotes, footballing nations anymore. The results are everywhere. Now, the issue for me is this. Did the boys show enough commitment? No. Even Amaju himself has said, look, if he had his way, if he were the coach, some of those boys will not return to the team. Now, that speaks a whole lot. It's either that the team selection was horrible, where you would then hold Raw responsible. But I think that
I listened to the, after post-match interview of Amaju, even saying that he watched the Ahmed Musa, the team captain, that's the way Ahmed Musa was feeling, that because he knows Ahmed Musa is a patriot, that what's the name
Even
of
this?
Ahmed
said he was shedding tears.
Yes, what's the name of this deputy coach, assistant coach?
Joseph Yobo?
Yeah. Joseph Yobo, that Joseph Yobo felt as if he should just go into the field to do something, you know, but he's just an assistant coach now. Yes. But what we're saying, in 3 days' time... Yobo. Okay, Pastor Edo is from Lagos. Thank you for joining us, Pastor Edo.
Yes, God bless you.
Amen.
James Asuko, you are wonderful. I want to say this, that our football has gone so bad simply because we don't really have originality again. Nigeria football lacks originality. We have become diluted. Our players are inferior to what they used to be. They don't have style again. Nigerian football in the States presently cannot actually say this is the formation we are playing. We don't have any defined formation. Garnet Rowe has not added anything to our football. We don't know the style Nigeria football is playing anymore. And then how can you give us a team that is made up of 75% foreign players? Where is Nigerian spirit? There is what we call power of Nigeria in football or in any other sport. There is a way that even white people, when they are playing us, they don't give up until the last minute. You can see if they are not doing this to Nigeria. Yakini will be turning in disgrace. Spirituality will be turning in his grave. It is disheartening, and this is high time we quickly shake ourselves before we go and disgrace ourselves in the next major competition. That's what I have to say. I hope Jide is fine.
Yeah, Jide is fine.
The last 2 editions, and please tell him we are missing him here.
We'll join us tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Pastor Do. Thank you for your love.
You see, that is what I was saying. I know when we had Clemens Wenzel, then we used to have, we know that we have home base, we have foreign base. Those home base will be learning from the foreign base. And then with that, our local league will also be more serious. We'll be serious because people want to say, okay, fine, I want to also have a bite of playing for the national team. But right now,
the national team should be for everybody.
From goalkeeper to ball boy in Super Eagles, all of them are foreign based.
They are not just foreign based. See, we have never had, it is under Game.
Most of them
had the highest number of Nigerians who were not born
in Nigeria. Yes, most of them were born abroad.
But do you know that
it's becoming a complex thing? Yes. See, just the way we don't even appreciate the made in Nigerian goods anymore.
Exactly.
Gradually, our football is tilting towards that end. Now, at some point, Amaju Pinnick went to England and said he's talking to a Nigerian, Tammy Abraham, to come
begging.
He said, I've spoken with his father, that his father was my classmate whatsoever, and he said the player had already agreed to play for Nigeria. All of a sudden, Tammy Abraham went on Twitter and said, no, I've not agreed to play for Nigeria. Today, Tammy is playing for England. It shows that today, what we do is, people will... It will be very difficult for you to have a Tammy Abraham. It will be difficult for you to have a Saka. Why? You did not invest in them. When they were going through the trying times, where they understood as home was England. Those who stood by them were the coaches over there. But who were the coaches who stood by these people who are here today? They are not Nigerians. Now, so you go there to beg them. And you go there to beg them, please come and play for Nigeria. Like, oh, they are doing Nigeria a favor. Like, what they have in Nigeria is not good enough. That's the way it is today.
In South Africa, most of those in the national team are from the South African League.
Go to North Africa, go to Egypt.
So
okay, we have another match. We have another match on
Tuesday. Yes.
Now,
and that's the point.
Yes.
The point
what can we do to atone this deficit?
If you permit, this is my view. What I see as having gone wrong is lack of discipline. 2, the psychological state of the footballers. Why do I say so? First, the same set of footballers we have found issues with were the same set that scored 4 goals in 45 minutes. Yes. So it apparently tells you that it may not be too bad after all. That what the team needs to do is get itself together again in terms of the fighting spirit and in terms of tactical discipline. That's my concern. If we do that, I don't see us doing too badly in Sierra Leone.
We
must build the fighting spirit.
When they saw what happened to Osimhen, that most of them were discouraged. Nobody communicated with them.
That's not true, because at the club level, at the highest level, players get injured and people get red card and they still go on to hold on to, it's a norm in football. People get injured. And the injury wasn't as if, his life was at stake. No. Now, he made mention of something that, the same Eagles scored 4 goals in the space of 45 minutes. But we should also understand that football is 90 minutes. Right. And probably the Sierra Leonean coach understood the game better. He read the game well, and tactically, he did what was right after.
He held on.
Now, you would also maybe want to agree or not that my own opinion, I've always questioned Kenneth Rowe's tactical approach to games, especially when it comes to situations. From the World Cup, I was in Russia against Argentina, and I felt to a large extent the Eagles could have gotten the desired result against Lamba Celeste, but it didn't turn out so. Against Algeria, we left it too late. The Eagles have the players, to get more goals. But unfortunately,
by the time it was 4-3, why couldn't you instruct your guys to just go back and pack the bus and hold on to that 4-3?
There is a coach who probably read the game better.
Didn't they pack the bus in this match?
No coach.
But it collapsed.
I'm coming. Sometimes you want to question, Rowe's tactical approach and his player selection. There is an Olaino. Olaino, the penultimate weekend, was scoring in England for Fulham Football Club. He scored a beauty of a goal with his weaker foot, his left foot. That's a defender. But Olaino is a Chelsea academy graduate. He plays as a defender from the right back. But he didn't start that game. Now, if everyone is optimistic about the game against Sierra Leone on Tuesday, all well and good. But all I want to say now is to apologize to every Sierra Leonean fan whom I personally wrote off at the Samuel Buna Stadium in Benin City. I never saw. It was going to be a massacre. I thought it was going to be a massacre. So after 30 minutes, when we saw that Eagles had scored 4 goals. But in Sierra Leone, in Freetown, I feel anything can happen. If you think the Eagles can get the desired result, the Sierra Leoneans can also get the desired results.
Oh, we need to go. If I leave me Akiri here, this is his fault. We'll just be swimming like fish in the river. Sammy Bimere, thank you. Thank you for your contribution today. Me and I'm sure sometime this week, or maybe after Tuesday, we'll have to call you up.
That's hoping
that the Super Eagles will put up a better performance.
That's the dream. That's the hope of every Nigerian.
The pirated man has spoken. Thank you.